right, we're gonna call to order.
Sign in. More sign in.
Where's more people come in?
All right, we're gonna call to order, this meeting of, planning and zoning, public hearing, to address the zoning of parcel property on 963. Mr. Secretary, can you do roll call?
Yes, sir. Joshua Quinn,
Present.
Roy Ann
Sign
Lane,
here. Sign
Shirley Anderson, Andy Bishop, Ashley Ferguson, Mark McDermott, Debbie Owens, Matthew Peters. Present.
The purpose of this public hearing today is to receive public input concerning the rezoning of parcel of property on Highway 963 from A2 to C1. The Gerald, here to speak to that property. Take the podium, sir, and introduce yourself.
Good evening, my name is William Jarrell. I'm one of the parts owners of that property at one time.
What is y'all's intent with the property?
The intent is to be able to do what has already been done on the property. You know, there was a racetrack on the property, as well as they had events on the property. But what our intent is also to put a building on the property to offer like weddings, family reunions, and just things that the town is lacking for us to be able to go to and having events that most times we have to go out of town and back and pay to book events. So we are trying to bring that here to this area.
Any questions? This is your time to speak, so use it as much as you can. So there's a racetrack, there's a training track on the back of the property?
It's just a race, currently it's a racetrack right there, and it had been used in the past as the stage was there for a concert in the past. And in addition to stuff that we were adding, bringing a building there, we would, like I say, do like have family reunions there, as well as offer opportunity to get weddings there. Because they have pavilion out there by the pond that we should redo and do that as well. Also, I just want to let everybody know, apparently they don't really know who we are. And all they know is the Gerald. But I grew up in this community along with my family. My dad was sugar man there, and he was Gerald. We are their kids. You know, we're a military family for the most part. I did 21 years in the Marine. My daughter, my sister, she did 28 years in the Army. My other brother, who's also part owner, he did 20 years in the Army. The only reason why you guys haven't seen us around here is because we're serving our country. You know, we're all war vets. You know, my brother who lived in this community, Barnard, been here his whole life. Never left here, right down 421. You know, he's also a businessman. You know, I'm also a businessman. My other sister also a business person. So we're not just know anybody that's coming here to try to bring it. We are very respectful family. I've been a preacher for 30 years, so I understand people concerned about what's going on. And I hold it wholehearted. Our goal is, which my sister already, to move back from Killeen, Texas, to come back home. This is the place we all gonna retire and be home. My favorite brother, he's already planning to move back home. You know, we live down in Peter Spring here. Our goal is to own a place here as well. So we are coming back home, you know, and I know and I understand the questions and concerns that the neighborhood have, you know, and I'm more than willing to hear them out, but also, you know, like in the fairness, we bought the property based on what was already done, not something that we are creating something new. So it was already there, and that's the reason why we made the investment in the property.
Thank you for that. Do I have anybody else to speak for this? So we're gonna begin to those that I'm guessing are against this, and we are, I'm gonna go through the list, call people up who've asked to speak. Mr. Brown, your first voice.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Board Committee for hearing me. My name is Mark Brown. I live just down the road from the property in question. My wife Betty and I live there. We've been here as residents for a while. We farmed and lived up here for 34, 35 years. And I'm representing several households on that area, on Highway 963. Some of those folks are here. The Parks are here. I'm representing them, Ms. Beasley, and representing some of these folks here. I want to begin by telling Mr. Gerald, thank you for your service to our country and your entire family. I appreciate that. But we have a difference of opinion on this. So, in general, we as a group have been very understanding of Mr. Richardson, our neighbor, who has held these events 3 or 4 times a year for the past few years. We've chosen not to aggressively oppose, even though we have some issues with some of the things they've done, because he's our neighbor. Understand, the family is from here, but an LLC, which is what we see is a faceless business shields, what that is going to drop every couple of years. So, we're just not prepared to believe that an LLC is going to use the property like we think it should. So, in short, it's a request for commercial zoning for a 38-acre tract. That's a huge footprint. Is that not correct? Am I wrong? Okay, the application that I looked at today, that I got from the police jury, I read 38 acres on it. Pardon me?
It's A and lot A and B.
Okay, it says 38 acres right here on the rezoning application form that I have gotten from this office today. So, with that said, I'm eating up my time, so let me go ahead and speak. So, these are properties in this area that are zoned R1 or A2, Ag 2. R1 residential, single family dwelling, right? Everybody understands that. For those who don't understand, I know that these folks do, but Ag 2 is basically a farm, a family farm, a single family dwelling on a larger acre property, on larger acreage of property. So, the folks that I'm representing, we purchase homes out here in this rural area where we could get away from the things that happen with your commercial properties in the city. And we're adamantly opposed to this rezoning. Some of the reasons: traffic, increased traffic during these times, events that go in the night. You know, even in the daytime, we have tractors, we have curvy roads with no shoulders, we have, these are events where alcohol will be served. We all know that some folks are not responsible, right? There's drinking and driving everywhere. So we're opposed to that because we're raising families here. There's a horse racetrack. Men only run horses for one reason. That's the deal. So, and I know that this racetrack is not registered with Louisiana Racing Commission. I have not checked, but I know that it's not. So, that would be illegal gambling on a racetrack in our parish, in my neighborhood, in the neighborhood of these people that I'm representing. We're adamantly opposed to that because that brings an element into your neighborhood that we just don't like. I appreciate you all taking the time to let me speak. Hope that you all hear our concerns, that I'm speaking not just for me, but some of my neighbors. Once again, thank you for any questions of me before I leave the podium.
No, sir.
Thank you all.
All right, that brings us to, Ms. Betty Ann Brown.
Why don't you move on to another person, and I can come back up if we have time.
Okay, next is, Ms. Juanita Parks.
We had several of us that went around, decided to do a petition and present that to you all. We have 135 signatures. And we'd yes, we did this, I was, very surprised by how many elderly sit, all they have people on lobsters, but we have right here close. And got totally knows that they hear this music and they just, we're like, no, we don't want it. And that's bothering me. I've also want to know, since this is Gerald's Event Center, is there any event description in the ordinance that will cover?
The police jury has no special event ordinance.
What about the zoning?
Zoning doesn't do special events, it's a separate ordinance.
Is that right? So I was wondering, who was gonna be, so there's nothing to be enforced on this, on your own description on what can be done, and everything like that, okay? There's security for all this, who's gonna take care of that?
So there's security, there's requirements in gathering. That does fall into there. I don't know exactly the limits, but there are requirements for that.
And the main thing I want to try to be aware of sounds for apples, and that's another thing we were surprised at with this petition, how far? A couple of miles down the road, people were like, oh, no, not for us. I mean, it's a long way that the sound goes. And we're in the country part of that. I have no clue, this is gonna affect our property values, we need to think about that. With the C1, because once you put it to a C1, it's got a long way, you can go to a lot of other things that this design still changes, do something else. And does what he's doing even fit from those C1. And you mentioned it was A2, on the sign out there, it says all one to C1.
I think that was a misprint, that's a lot.
Size of lots or the two lots in question, one was 6.3 and the other was 5. The total acreage each part was 38.
I still think we can get, but I
The
think it's
application
not all
says
one,
38
that's big, 'cause 3 acres involved is considered
Ag 2.
ag too. So, and I know some people have mentioned this was grandfathered in, that's not, those was running cattle when we moved here, so there was nothing going on until a long time later on.
Grandfather changes.
At the sale of our yes, and, so, that's my main things I have to say.
Thanks so much.
All right, that brings us to, Mr. Anthony Linton.
Hello, everyone. My name's Anthony Lynn. I'm owner of Thompson Creek Sporting Goods and also with Hanger Bay in Jackson, Louisiana. I had some concerns about the property and the change, primarily from having a lot of my customers come to the store.
Can you
And,
pull the mic up to you?
I'm sorry. So, as I say, I'm Anthony Lynn. Most people know me as Tony Lynn. I own Thompson Creek Sporting Goods in Hanger Bay in Jackson, Louisiana. And, So, the reason that I came here today was to address the concerns that most of my customers had, and also to, Mr. Gerald also says that we don't have a place currently for any of these events to take place, but we do. We have the Civic Center there in Jackson where these events have been taking place on a very regular basis for quite a period of time. I've seen what goes on with these events. I've heard the concerns of law enforcement at these events. A lot of times these events take place and they say that no alcohol will be served so that they don't have to provide security by the town police. Then the town police on a very regular basis have to end up going there due to illicit activities going on and also because alcohol is being served when it's not inside the permits. I know the types of sounds that go on there. My business is right next to it. On a regular basis, I'm at my shop after hours, and I have listened to my windows vibrating from a block away from everything going on inside, and I just do not feel that this is something that should go on in an area that's so residential with so many houses. There's a lot of large property owners in that area that have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in their property to get out of the town, to get away from these these type of situations. And in order for them to now have to worry about that coming, and there's not going to be a lot of oversight as to what goes on this property, that just doesn't seem right to me. I do think that the event center is a great idea. I really do. I think that it would be a great help to the community. I do not think this is the location for it. That is the biggest concern that I have. I'm sure everything is being done with good intentions. However, over time, we know that intentions erode. And as these intentions erode, the people that will be left to deal with it will be the property owners that are there. Thank you all for your time.
All right, that brings us to Mr. Randall Duvall. Introduce yourself.
Have to take these off so I can see. Hi everyone, I'm Randy Duvall. I live on Pikes Lane. First of all, I'd like to point out the fact in the affidavit, Mr. Darrell Stacy is a resident of East Feliciana, which was signed by a notary public. And then at the same time, the rezoning application says he's a resident of Killeen, Texas. That causes a lot of concern. How does we as a parish trust any individual who has a sworn affidavit stating he is a resident but clearly resides in the state of Texas? Secondly, there are several discrepancies in the paperwork for uses. One states entertainment, which is very vague. The next states parties, which is also vague, and a racetrack. Has anyone notified the racetrack commission on any of this? Another part of it states that parties, weddings, trail rides, etc. will take place here. Etc. What does that mean? Really? So you're stating you want 38 acres, and that is what's actually on the application is 38 acres. That to be zoned commercially for etc. That's so open-ended no parish could ever hold them to anything. Third, there is a site plan under attachment B subsection A4 that states a site plan existing and proposed facilities to be located on the property, buildings, parking, sewer plant, etc. Please show and review a plan of development for every square foot of proposed 38 acres for commercial development. I've had a few dealings with commercial properties, and multiple parishes in any requests that are presented have details of what will be done with every square foot of said property. That's how commercial property works. It's listed, bought, sold, transferred, whichever you want to call it, but it's done by the foot. That's commercial property. As far as we know right now, this is an open-ended request for commercial property that, if passed, has the legal right to do whatever they would like to do with it. The possibilities fall under the event of event center or etc., which are endless. Also, under that same section, it also asks for proposed changes to storm drainage, impact letters from fire, health, water, gas, and electric. So I recognize these in the application, that several of these letters are attached to the applications and are dated before the application affidavit was even submitted or approved. So, my question is, being aware of that, what is being proposed here is granted an impact letter with no formal documentation of what's being proposed. Lastly, stepping away from this whole legal aspect of everything, has any type of environmental study been requested? How about the agricultural wildlife? These are concerns from living beings who also reside in this parish that can't call or file a complaint here or be here with us tonight. These types of developments do take place and do have an impact on our wildlife, our agriculture, and our environment. But going about this with little to no thoughts of that impact is outside of our own personal agendas. It's just wrong. Thank you for your time.
All right, that brings us to Mr. Kenneth Davis.
name is Kenneth Davis. I've been on my resident over 35 years. I retired from Angola doing 37 years. I bought my house out there because it was quiet and peaceful and stuff. And Mr. Richardson should have explained to the prick he sold his land to, some of the stuff he probably was doing was illegal anyway. But I have called the police over several times in that neighborhood for noise and stuff like this too. I don't fault this guy who bought this land, which he thought that was legal, stuff that was on this land. I don't think it was legal. But I'm opposed to it because I'm in a neighborhood, we're quiet, we watch each and every one house and stuff. I bring my grandkids to play and do a lot of things too. But I don't want to wake up Saturday morning, listen to loud music and all this stuff here. So if you rezone this land, can you guarantee my house value won't go down? Can you guarantee our safety? Can you guarantee the traffic won't be coming in and out? Can you guarantee the police will be coming every time they call them, which they have other things to do? They will come out there or somebody playing a loud noise? I'm against it. I'm really against it. But I don't fault this guy who bought the land. I thought Mr. Richardson, he should explain to him that the stuff was on the land was probably illegal. But like I said, I called the cops several times, over several times about this. But you know, when you retire, you just want peace, sit on top porch, drink me a cup of coffee. I don't like loud music. I didn't let my kids play loud music in the neighborhood. Nobody comes to them with loud music. And I'm against it. I've been there 37 years. I'm getting old. I want a people place to stay. I want to see it. And y'all know what's going to happen. You can't guarantee our safety today. You can't stop a stray bullet. You don't know what kind of people will come through there. You know that. You see what happened on TV. People in their houses, stray bullets come and kill somebody. I want my safety. This is why I'm up here. For my safety in this neighborhood. I'm opposed against it. But I don't fault this guy for buying this land. So before he bought it, they should explain to him that this stuff is on this land as a race track. You know it wasn't legal. These events weren't legal. It was Mr. Richardson. You know, nobody will go against him. Like I say, I did call the police. Guess what? Music kept playing. That's all I have to say. I just want y'all to guarantee our safety, and you guarantee my house I got won't reduce in value. And you rezone this land, you're gonna change the character of that neighborhood.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's next to my subdivision. So I'm opposed to it.
Thank you. There's a Mr. Jack Rogers or John Rogers. Introduce yourself.
Thank y'all. So I live right next door to this fine gentleman right here. My wife and I moved from Ascension Parish about 9 years ago. We have two small kids, a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. All right, we go to Silverman's. This is no environment. Y'all gonna let this go through? I can hear the music when Buck Richardson would play it. I can hear the music through my house. The doors closed at night. My kids go to bed at 7:30. This is the environment that I raised my kids in. Moved from Ascension, moved up here to get away from all that. And now I'm gonna turn around and play it again. And we have a very nice neighborhood on the side of us. Everybody gets along, never had no issues. And then also tell you, I'm the one that built the track for Buck Richardson. What that track was intended for? It was intended for him to practice his horses. So Buck Richardson and I got crossed up on it because then he turns around and starts backdoor gambling. I watched it with my own 2 eyes. Watched money trade hands. And then didn't even get paid for the work that I did. On top of it. So that's all knowing and going. But I know the things that take place with this going on. I drove over there and watched it. And I watched the parties that go over there. So my kids and everybody, my wife pulled up on the driveway at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, going to get something to eat. Got drunk drivers coming up and down the road. Who's going to be responsible for that? They also have a place that's worth about $600,000, $700,000. Who's going to take that value loss? Because my place is going to be worth anything next to something like this. That's kind of how I stand with it. I like everything to stay just like it is. When Buck was there, Buck's 80-something years old. He'd have one, once every 3 years? Something like that. He was doing it to raise money. Everybody kind of looked the other way. Buck would shut it down reasonably, then he'd put a big show out. Have y'all seen the flyers that are going through now, right now, that's going on there? I address y'all, let y'all see this.
So you can contact whoever you want.
Yep. these are flyers that are going around this property. The police jury has already passed, or trying to pass right now.
That's for an event when?
This weekend,
They're all-
Friday and Saturday.
2-day event. We were told it was to be one.
And shut down at 9.
Shut down at 9, but they expressly put on the post that the music will go all night long.
We understand, but it's on the post.
Come on, y'all.
Gentlemen,
No, I'm thank y'all for y'all's time.
thank you. All right, that's our last speaker. We're gonna.
Oh, no, I'd like to speak. I wanted to give everybody a chance. I was on the list as second, and I wanted to defer to anyone else who wants to speak tonight. I've lived in the area, I've worked in the area for over 38 years. I respect everyone's right to privacy on their own land and to use their land as they see fit. I respect Mr. Gerald. But the bottom line, this is a residential community. If you drive by, there is a subdivision that Mr. Richardson developed a few years ago. There are homes there, 6 or 7 homes there with small children who play all the time. That driveway basically shares the entrance for the event center. And I say basically, it's right next door, right next door.
This needs to be orderly.
Okay.
I asked for it to be over.
No, I'm sorry.
We've ran past our time now.
Okay, can I have my 3 minutes?
Past the time is continue, but I don't interact with these.
I'm sorry. The driveways are adjacent to each other. It will bring in community beyond our community. The Facebook post that was just shared with you by Mr. Rogers has been shared, and if you look at the shares, it's now being shared through Baton Rouge, through Amite, and all surrounding areas in our area. You can go to people's, you can see who shared it and where they're coming from. I can't say they're all gonna come, but let's be realistic. You're gonna take a nice residential community in this area. And I agree, there should be an event center. There should be places for people, but in the city.
Thank you. All right, public hearing's closed. We're gonna begin.
I call a point of order, please. I'm assuming that's appropriate. Are you guys using Robert's Rules of Order for your meetings?
Yes, if they are, they need it.
Okay, I wanted to make a public comment.
Mr. Oakwin.
It was
Mr.
willy-nilly
Oakwin.
things passed around.
Mr. Oakwin, the public hearing was set from 5:45 to 6 o'clock.
13
Past
minutes.
6 o'clock, you really need to end the public hearing, start the meeting. The public still can ask questions when the topic comes up during the open meeting.
Okay, well, how do you get on the note? Because that was just willy-nilly, which is how everything else around here. I didn't know there was a place to sign. I was here early.
All right, public hearing's closed. All right. That brings us to our regular meeting for Tuesday, January the 24th. Calling to order.